Orchot Tzadikim in the gate of silence. So he says one must be careful not to shame anyone or to pain anybody with words. Even if you're sitting near somebody who has a blemish, or he's ashamed, or he's a defect in his family, you have to not speak about it. You know, sometimes you could insult somebody even with your attitude. Some people, they put themselves on a pedestal, and somebody is a little bit off, a little bit weird, or does a little bit different than they do. They go, they get a load of this guy, right? They're gonna make faces. Somebody says something, and they start mocking him. Okay, you're making these kind of obnoxious remarks because you think your group is cool and you're cool, and they're like, they're low class. So all this is where a person used to use the gate of silence. He has to use silence and not say. You don't say some things. You don't say some things. You don't say. It also derives enjoyment from telling you something. Whenever you know that he'll tell you nothing new, be quiet until he finishes. A lot of times people, they don't know how to stop talking while somebody else is talking. Because what's a mifrash? Sign of a wise man, he waits until somebody else finishes talking. If somebody else is foolish, sorry to cut you off. When you say sorry means you don't do it anymore. But you say, sorry to cut you off. I said, why you keep cutting me off? Because I'm going to forget what I say. So learn how to remember what you say. If you don't, write it down. Write it down on your phone so you don't forget. When in court, you see every people just jump up and start talking. If they want to say something, they can say objection, and they get permission to talk. You don't just cut into the other guy's thing, because if not, there's no order ever. Nobody will ever get anything across. Problem is, people don't realize conversing takes logic, not just emotion. People only talk with emotion, no logic, so then nobody can say anything. Therefore, it turns into a game of who can yell louder and who can say something more controversial. Who can say a bigger insult and quiet the room the fastest? That's not how you can have a conversation. A real seichel dika, real mutual love, mutual respect, logical conversation. You say, and I say. Even if you say something, the most offending thing in the world, I have to wait till you finish, because that's respect. Even today, used to be people could go in the street and debate with people about religion, about taxes, today it's all screaming and yelling and cutting people off and emotions, and I'm going to cancel you and I'm going to kill you. I have to hurt you. Today you have to physically hurt the person to win the conversation, not to win through logic. Even if the secret is, even if you're going to win and prove them logic, they're still emotional. They're not going to agree to you. And anyways, they're not going to agree to you. They're going to pretend as if they didn't hear what you said. They're going to pretend as if, oh yeah, you're right. And 2 seconds later, he's still arguing with you. Why? Because everything's emotional. Nothing to do with the head, or nothing to do with logic. So therefore, it's not that they're not logical people. It's that they let their emotions take over their logic and cover their logic. And we have to be our brain on top of our heart, not our heart on top of our head. And it happens a lot in families. It happens a lot that people in a family, something happened. We need to discuss what to do as the plan. So the brother starts yelling, this guy starts yelling, and everybody takes everything personal, and then we leave and we all have a bad taste in the mouth. Old school people, they're good. They're able to come the next day like amnesia, like nothing happened yesterday, and they'll talk again, even though I yelled and cursed you off yesterday. But the younger people, they can't stand this. The younger kids, when their parents berate them and yell at them and scream at them, they feel so distant. I don't want to talk to this person anymore. I want to send them far away. So therefore, a person has to be careful. How much more so in our generation? Has to be very, very careful not to cut people off and not to say things that are based on just emotions, based with logic. The Gemara says the 7 signs of a fool. And what are they? Number 1 is this wise man doesn't speak in front of the people who are greater than him. If you do speak in front of people who are greater than you, in wisdom or number, sign you're a fool. Right? You have to respect the people who are older than you and people who are wiser than you. A person, the rabbi is there and he speaks in front of the rabbi and gives halakha. Are you allowed to do this on Shabbat? The guy says, yeah, of course, right, Rabbi? What is this? A sign you're a fool. You don't. Your mouth is not connected to your brain, because I see clearly. You just feel and you just say. You don't think before you say. Then number 2 is doesn't rush to answer. You see today people feel right away they have to speak. So what do? They go and yeah, and this and he mumbles. Why? Because take your time. Don't say anything. Be quiet for a few moments, and then talk, and then say a nice, beautiful answer. You see interviews from many years ago. How do people interview? Ask a question. He's sitting there thinking, well, yeah, and then he says something. Why? Because he wants to think about something smart. He wants to say something smart. Today, people think everything has to be instant. Make it up as you go. Just say while you're talking to give yourself time. It's not appropriate. Sign is a fool. Person who's wise doesn't rush to answer. For when a person is wise, he knows how to ask. There's some people who they ask you 5 questions at once. You're asking a lot of things. Break it up, ask to the point, and don't give me a whole story. They tell you all this information, and then halfway through, what do you ask? What are you trying to get to? Oh, I forgot. I don't know what I'm trying to get to. I was saying the story. I don't even know what I was saying. Person who's wise, he asks to the point. He says things correctly. He gets to the chase. And then he says the wisest, biggest sign, he admits the truth. You go to somebody, tell him to zaparo. You got to stop doing this. Amen. You're right. That's a wise person. Foolish person says, yeah, I'm a this. What about you? You don't do this right. You don't do that right. Who are you to tell me? That's a sign of a fool. The sages say, speaking with wisdom and understanding is like adding salt to the dish, which means if you have a beautiful idea, there's a way to say your idea. If you say it nicely, you say it with wisdom, you added salt to your idea became beautiful. But if you have a good idea, but you don't know how to say it, and you present it the wrong way, you do it with emotion, you do it with putting people down, you do it with rushing and cutting people off, so now you just spat all over your beautiful dish. You ruined your whole dish. Now your dish was something beautiful and it got ruined. So therefore, this is just to show you how important it is choosing your words and when to say and how to say it, and being silent sometimes is what a person has to work on. He's like the door of your house. Sometimes you open it, sometimes you don't. Right? You don't leave it always open. You don't always leave it closed. Same way, you always have to check and think before you open the door, so too your mouth. It says about the worst one, where a person has to exercise the most silence, is the class of the mockers. Letzim. It says a person who is from the Letzim, is from the mockers, he's one of the groups of people don't get Olam Haba. What does it say? The first pasuk in Tehillim. Moshav Metzim lo yashafti. It says, David the Melech says, pray Hashem, I'm a Hasid. Why? Because I did not sit with the mockers. What's the mockers? What's the problem with the mockers? The Halakha says, if you go to a stadium, right, there's potential problem, Moshav Letzim. The problem of sitting with scoffers. What's scoffers? Scoffers doesn't just mean people who make jokes about things. It represents the idea of not taking life seriously. That's what the scoffer is. So a scoffer takes something serious, he makes a joke about it. He goes, the guy's a doctor. He sees his friend smoking. He sees his friend drinking Coke all day. He says, listen, my friend, it's not healthy. You got to stop. You could have a heart attack, God forbid. Your arteries, your cholesterol, this, sugar, diabetes. The guy telling him, nah, don't worry. Yeah, we're all going to die anyways. YOLO, you only live once. Don't worry about all these kind of jokes he makes. He takes something serious, his life. And he makes a joke about it. He shaves it off, shoves it away, like as if it's not. Hey, it's not serious what you're saying. And then he gives his conscious ability to say it's okay what I'm doing. It's very severe. Now, when a person goes to the stadium to watch a basketball game, a baseball game, whatever it is, okay, Rosh Feinstein gives a tshuva that's permitted technically. If you learn Torah and you need the break, you need a vacation a little bit in order to get away, then you come back, you have more strength. But there's no pritzut over there. But he says the idea is what? If a person is into it, sometimes you could be into basketball, like Avodah Zarah. This is my focus. I know all the stats. I know the players, who's on which team, how the record, and I'm a big fan. I have the jersey. I have the shoes. It could become a whole Avodah Zarah. And what did you do? Life is very serious, and you're using it for what? For something so meaningless. The monkey's playing with the ball, right? So what do? That's a scoffer. He makes important things not important. Not important things very important. He's all about what the new restaurant opened. He's all about which new vacation I'm going to go to this winter vacation. He's all about this new hotel or this new concert or this new sporting event that's happening. Those are if you talk to him about those things, kodesh kodeshim. But the learning, health, business, tzedakah, mitzvot. Okay, yalla no, and he makes jokes. He's a scoffer. You have to be careful not to sit to such a person. And he says those people, especially when you give them a rebuke, it's the worst. Because now, okay, fine, he's a scoffer. He doesn't take life seriously. Let's give him musar. Let's wake him up. You speak to him, what does he do? He mocks you. He's not pagna, fanatic. Oh, you're crazy. Come on. Who went to Olam Haba, came back, told us it's true? Who said, where in the Torah it says there's all these rabbis, they made all this stuff up. Leave me alone. My life is good. I'm fine. I make money. I go to work. I am happy. I have wife. I have kids. I have house. What do I need all this for your Torah and your mitzvot? You make us into penguins. Why do you need to make me into a penguin? All this kind of talk that he heard from others, and he's just regurgitating. Haz v'shalom, he could deny olam haba. He could make himself, Haz v'shalom, go to a very far path from Hashem, end up very far from where he's supposed to be in his tikkun in his life, all because how he spoke. If he would have said, you know what, I'm going to be open-minded. You're right, let me think about what you said. Let me go and do my own research. Doesn't mean I agree yet, but I'm going to go look into what you talked about. Maybe it is serious what you're talking about. There's a chance he would have been saved. But if a person right away, he mocks, right away he scoffs, so it's almost a lost cause. Almost no help with this person. Almost no future with this person. Person has to teach himself and his family members. If you hear something on Torah specifically that bothers you, doesn't sit well with you, be open-minded. Think about it. Look into it. Do research about it. Don't right away, it's not for me. This is not good. Because maybe it's the truth and you're throwing it under the garbage. Haz v'shalom, who is smart? Lomed mikol adam. Baruch Adonai olam. Amen.